Good morning and welcome to my video about how I would organize a content language integrated learning. So let's go ahead. My specialty is, just let me move the video down here. My specialty is biology and geology, so this is what I have designed about. And I'm going to do this unit for the Primero de la ESO, to first grade. Okay, it's going to be about vertebrates. I have designed it to be 9 sessions in the second trimester, so the duration is going to be about 3 weeks. The global goal of this unit is to know and identify the anatomical and physiological characteristics and vital functions of the 5 groups of vertebrates. We have 2 kinds of objectives. We have content objectives and we have linguistic objectives in a content language integrated learning class. So content objectives, they are determined by the law. I have structured these objectives from the law with the learning standards associated. So I'm not going to read them. If you want the detail, you have the presentation. I'm going to detail the linguistic objectives in this case. So one of these objectives is to understand general and specific information in oral text in various communicative situations, express oneself in typical communication situations with certain degree of autonomy, to read and understand diverse text of a level appropriate to people's abilities, to write simple text with diverse purposes, to use correctly the basic phonetic, lexical, structural, and functional components of the target language, and to acquire assurance and self-confidence in one's ability to learn and to express in the target language. How is this unit going to be organized? So we have, as I said, we have 9 sessions. And we have different blocks. Okay, we have a first block, which is the introduction. In this first session, we will introduce vertebrates through an activity which I call a trip through evolution. So I use the evolution tree to introduce from the previous unit, which is invertebrates, to introduce vertebrates. So I use this evolution tree. We have an introduction video, which usually they like very much. So this session is also has a motivation objective. And finally, we will introduce a mind map, which we are going to be using in every class. Okay. Next, we go to the second block, which is going to be the 5 next sessions from 2 to 6. In each session, we are going to work on one group of vertebrates. I'm going to use the flipped classroom methodology, so they will have to prepare the class beforehand by seeing a video and doing a test. And during the class, we will have more or less the same structure that I'm going to explain later. Then we have another activity which is related to the forces framework, okay, where we're going to relate these contents with the problems in nature, in the world, okay, about animals in danger. And finally, the last 2 sessions are going to be dedicated, first one, to review all the contents we have worked previously, and the last session is going to be the exam, okay. So, as I told you before, I'm going to use the Aicole forces framework to organize and to design these sessions. So, content, this is the first part. The content is going to be organized in a Padlet because we are working in a flipped classroom methodology. We have one column for each group, for each session, where there will be a video, the test, and some explanations. We have also the PDF in case they want to download the presentation that I am using during the videos. Communication, we have different tools for using the different kinds of communication objectives. We have videos, okay, for the flipped classroom. So in these videos, they will be able to to develop their reading and hearing competencies. We have the test. In this, they can develop their reading skills. In the worksheets, they are going to be communicating, they are going to be writing, they are going to developing their spelling, because they have to write it properly. And we have also the mind maps. Okay, all these different tools, they are going to help communication between them, between me and them, and also activating their different competencies related to communication. Cognition also, all these tools are going to activate higher order thinking in different ways. The autonomous keys, which we are going to use in one activity, are going to be a way for them to apply their knowledge. The worksheets are going to allow them to synthesize all the information they have been acquiring through the videos and through my explanations. Analyzing the mind maps also, they are a good tool to classify and to analyze and arrange all the information that we are acquiring along the unit. And finally, we will be constantly evaluating our progress through the use of tests. For instance, the test that we are using in the flipped classroom videos. Culture. We have also some activities which are going to relate the contents they are acquiring with the world outside of the classroom. So, for instance, we have this endangered species activity, which was for session 7, and in this classroom they are going to be working on a worksheet. They have to choose one endangered animal, and using a type worksheet, which is going to be empty. This is just an example of one worksheet that has been filled, and they will relate their knowledge of vertebrates with a problem which is happening now, that we have endangered species which are going extinct. And also the arrangement of the class, where they're going to be usually working in groups of 4. So in this case, they will be relating with each other. They will be working alone, because we are going to use the 1-2-4 dynamic in many occasions. They will have the opportunity to work alone, to work in couples, to work in groups of 4, and also to work the whole group, because we will have activities where they will have to work all together. So how is going to be a type session? It is a flipped classroom activity, so they will have some work to do the day before, just around 15 minutes, where they will have to see a video, and they will use their reading and listening competencies. They will have to do a test where they will activate their reading abilities, and I am going to use this also as an assessment tool. And they will have to use their writing capabilities for writing questions that they will ask me during class. So the competencies I am activating here is the competence in linguistic communication, competence in processing information and ITC, learning to learn, and autonomy and personal initiative. Okay, because this is a work that they have to do at home. At class, how are we going to scaffold the class organization? So it's going to be organized in 3 groups. The first block in 3 blocks. The first block is going to be 15 minutes more or less for questions, main doubts, and review the test from the previous video. Block 2 is going to be an activity about a vertebrate group, a worksheet. They will work for 15 minutes in a 1-2-4 dynamic. And finally, we will correct, and I will collect the results. And the last part of the class will be dedicated to summarize all the informations we have learned, to prepare for the next session, and we will use a mind map for doing this. The first block, they will ask me questions or doubts from the previous video they have seen before, activating the speaking and listening abilities. I will present the test results for the class, and I will clarify the main doubts that I have seen from the test results. So in this case, they are going to activate the listening capabilities. And finally, we will review the test, and we will be activating the speaking and listening activities. Then we will go for the main activity. I will give them a worksheet. They will have to work in a 1-2-4 dynamic for 15 minutes. So 15 minutes working alone, 5 minutes working in couples, 5 minutes working in groups of 4. And finally, we will correct the activity all the class together. What I am activating here is the following competencies: linguistic communication, knowledge and interaction with the physical world, competence in social skills and citizenship, because they are working together in groups, learning to learn, and autonomy and personal initiative. I will use this also as an assessment tool. Finally, the last part of the class will be dedicated to updating this mind map, where we will put the information we have learned during class and introduce the next group that has to be worked for the next class. For assessment, I have 3 tools. I have the test results. I'm going to put a heavy weight in this one because I want them to work at home, and the only way to get this is to put heavy weight in doing this test at home. Then I will have the worksheet to see how they work in class, and also the dynamic of 1-2-4 allows me to move along them and to use this worksheet to see how they are behaving and how they are working. So these will be my main tools for assessment. And finally, I will use also a teaching assessment. I'm going to ask them to assess me and the methodology and how I proceed in class, how I explain. So this is going to be my final assessment, which I will give them to them. So this is everything I had to explain. I have summarized all this information. Just let me look for this. I have it here. So I have summarized all this information. I don't know why this is not okay. So here it is. I have summarized all this presentation in this Padlet, okay, which I am going to send you the address. So you have it here organized: the objectives, organization, framework, type session, evaluation, and then what I am providing also are some materials. I am providing here a link to the flipped classroom materials. Okay, I'm giving also an example of how the first part of the classroom would be organized. Okay, because I usually prepare a presentation. Block 2, I'm sending also a type worksheet for the dynamic, which we're going to use. And this is everything. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope it was of interest for you, and see you soon. Bye.